All right, we're just getting back to the shop here, and we're gonna start building the silage box. We've got some of the materials laying on the floor. We've got cross member material here, the main sills, and then the piece that we're gonna put on the back, the tail light panel. So we've got material laying in the saw here, or laying on the bench. This is 1.5 by 3, 11 gauge. This is what we're gonna use for the cross members. I can get 3 8-foot pieces out of one length of it. So we'll get this stuff cut, and then I've got a jig over there that we use to put between the sills, which is these beams here. We'll get things laid out, start laying cross members. Then we'll get our rub rail on the outside, and then we can start laying the sheet metal on. So we need to get some steel cut, we need to get a few other things set up, and then we'll start putting this together. Okay, we've got the cross members cut. They're setting right there. Right now what I'm doing is I am getting this back panel that goes on the very back of the box. I'm getting ready to cut the turn signal and reverse lights into it, along with the cluster 3 marker lights that go in the center. I've got a second one laying out here that I'm gonna go ahead and get ready as well. Another thing that we're trying to do, we're trying to get things organized in the shop here. And we've got a bunch of hydraulic fitting adapters that were in various places around the shop. We had a spot next to the hose machine that was a mess. We had adapters and stuff upstairs. And if anybody's familiar with Vidmar, Vidmar has drawer assembly units that are just astronomical in price. And I ended up picking up this tool cabinet here from Harbor Freight, and the girls are working on getting all of the hydraulic fitting adapters organized. I ended up buying these assortment boxes that you carry. We've got them sitting in the drawers here to kind of divide things up a little bit. It looks a little crude, but we're doing pretty good on how much we have into just this unit here. It's a little overkill to have a toolbox to organize hydraulic fittings and whatever like that, but this was relatively cheap compared to something like a Vidmar setup. And then we're going to have some various tools in this as well. Like I said, we're trying to get things organized in the shop. We've got a couple of toolboxes over there. I've got another toolbox over in the other part of the shop. This one's just going to be for hydraulic fittings. It's giving the girls something to do while they're waiting for me to get things set up so they could start helping weld. They actually went to get some more of these things here, and then some little bins like this so we can get this stuff organized. I have this little 26-inch tool cabinet here that's just got odds and ends in there. Got axle, if I can get it open. Got axle nut sockets and a couple of drawers. I've got a couple of tap and die sets, some gear pullers, crap like that. And this toolbox tipped over on me and it screwed up the drawers. So we're gonna unload all the other various tools out of it. We've got steering wheel pullers, we've got a U-joint puller, just odds and ends that we don't use all the time. We've got a coolant system checker there, and we're going to put that in that box. If I have any room left in it, I might have to buy the top cabinet to it, or just buy a shorter one. This came from Harbor Freight, and it is, I believe it's 22 inches deep, 72 inches wide. They do have the top box that goes on there, and they also have the smaller boxes. They're like 26 or 40 or something like that. So once we get things figured out, we'll have things organized, and it'll be a little neater in here. But we've more or less outgrown this building here. So I'm going to go ahead and get the holes cut in these bumpers here, or the tail panel. And then I've got a jig over there that will set down. Then we'll put the long sills against the jig, and then that'll give us the proper width that the main sills have to be when it sets on the actual truck frame. So we'll get this stuff cut, and then we'll join up with you here once we get laying things out here. Well, we are ready to do some actual welding. Now, I've got the sills laid out, and then what you see in the center here is a jig that I made probably 15 years ago. Back a long while ago, and I've done a fair amount of these out of rectangular tubing and channel iron. Rectangular for the sills. Rectangular tubing is pretty well straight as an arrow when you start building with it, because it is a box, and it will stay straight. Back when I was using channel iron for main sills, channel iron will swim a little bit, and it's hard to keep it straight. And I built this jig several years ago so that I could keep the sills parallel with each other, and so that I could keep them from rolling under towards each other or tipping out. So we have this jig in there, and I've got it clamped on both sides, and this jig is the exact same width as what the truck hoist is that we use. We use a harsh twin cylinder scissor hoist. A twin cylinder, it has telescopic cylinders, but they're twin cylinders on a scissor frame, and you have to be 29 7/8 inside the sills so that the hoist will sit in underneath the sills. And this jig is just shy of 30 inches. It's like 29 15/16 on the outside, so that our sills end up being somewhere in the neighborhood of 29 15/16 to just shy of 30 inches. Now, these are 10-inch sills. I used to use 8-inch sills, 8-inch channel iron, and I have this guy 10 inches tall. And the reason why I made it 10 inches tall is I would set the 8-inch channel irons on 1-inch pieces of a tube, and then when we clamped it, it clamped together on these scabs that are welded down through the top of this 4-inch box tube frame. And the pieces that are on the top are also on 1 foot centers. Well, they're not, they're in 1 foot increments. And how I have these set up is back when I was using the 8-inch channel, this stuck up higher than the 8-inch, and we could set a cross member, set the back of the cross member against these scabs here, and I didn't have to do any measuring except for what we had going on in the center. Put the back of the cross member against here, and then I had two in between. What we'll do here is we'll weld these cross members on. That'll get the back end tightened up, and then we can pull or use a bar to move this jig forward and get the last cross member on up front, and then we'll have everything straight. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the rub rail on. We use 3x4 box tube for the rub rail. We'll put one on each side, and then the rest of the cross members, we don't have to measure anything. I've got these centered so that they're an equal distance on each outside part of the sill, carefully measured. Once we get the rub rails on there, we can just drop the cross members in, and all we have to do is line the line up with the front of the cross member, and bang, we'll be able to set them in there all the way down through. I have the rear panel. I bought a 20-foot piece of channel iron. Now I should have bought a 40. I could have got 5 lengths out of a 40-foot piece of channel, but I didn't do that. I ended up buying a 20-footer, and being that we had to lop off 12 foot, I made 2 panels out of the 20 foot that I had, and I got a freaking 4-foot drop, but I'll get another one, and then I can weld the 2 4-foot pieces together, grind the center down, and you won't know the difference. So we have the light holes already cut in there, and what I have is a piece of rectangle tubing on this junior channel. Because it's channel iron, it's not straight. Well, now it is, because I have this junior channel on there, and once we get everything on, we can put that junior channel on, get it welded into place, and then it'll be straight, so that when the tailgate comes down, the tailgate is going to come down, the bottom of the tailgate is going to be about right here, and being that we're using a rectangle piece of tubing against this bumper, well, back of the box here, I can't have it, you know, friggin' cockeyed or anything. It's got to be straight. So we're going to get into doing some welding here. The girls are trying to get this stuff organized. This is a mess that I have slowly been building for 20 years. And all this stuff has been scattered about. This stuff, I have an idea of what I have, and if I was ever looking for something, I had to look in about 4 different places. Now, I talked earlier about Vidmar. Vidmar has assortment drawers and everything else. They have these drawers, individual drawers that pull out, and you'd have to have the drawer labeled for whatever fitting or whatever you have in it. It's expensive. This toolbox was $1,300, by the way. You seen earlier that we had these are just grab and go assortment bins. We had them sitting in there, but the girls yanked all that out. That was my idea, to have them in there, and they said this is going to be a little neater, and that's what they've done, is they've pulled these little cup divider things out of these units here, which came from Harbor Freight. Do you remember how much the bigger ones were?
One of them was $9, but I don't know if the little one or the big one.
Okay, it doesn't matter. This is working good. So we don't have anything organized here from the smaller size to the larger size, and we don't have anything organized that's pipe thread, JIC, straight thread or O-ring, so on and so forth. It is organized in a fashion that, all right, we had X number of pieces, 3/8 pipe by 3/8 JIC. We had a lot of these, so they ended up in a big compartment. The one nice thing about having this set up the way we have it here is you'll be able to open this drawer up, and if I tell somebody I need 3/4 by 3/4 JIC bulkhead, and they have this in their hand, they're going to tell me I don't have any. Well, they can come over to the drawers, and they'll have one fitting in one hand, and they can scan across this whole drawer and look at the various compartments that are in the drawer to find out what they need. This is a 3/4 JIC by 3/4 pipe thread. If you have the drawer labeled and you don't know what you're looking at, or you don't know what, by looking at the identification, what you're looking at, then you're going to have to pull every stinking drawer out. The Vidmar stuff, if any of you have seen that, is like horribly expensive. This is, I like it. I like it. We have some empty drawers that it's tap and die set. We have some drawers, some usable space left here, and there is some, where are the sockets?
And this one.
So this is our gear puller drawer, radiator test kit. There is the other pieces to that large puller are somewhere. We've got to get that in there. We've got this here goes to that larger puller. This here is our axle nut sockets. We've got a Kuhn socket here. I forget what that goes to. I want to say something on the Kuhn plow. And this guy here is, it's a socket driver, I want to say, to the Jamesway manure spreader. We had all these tools here jammed into that little 26-inch box, which is junk. We need to get ourselves organized. We've got messes everywhere just because we don't really have a good spot to put anything, so we've got garbage stacked on top of garbage. So things are coming together, although it takes time, but there's nothing worse than wasting time looking for something. And there. Oh my God. Right into place. So that's basically where we want to store that. And if I run out of space, I've got room enough to fit it underneath this shelf. We're putting a smaller box on this side here, but for now, it's working. So, yeah. You guys getting ready to call it a night here or what? You are? Yeah? Yeah. So, I guess we're gonna call it for this video. So, do you want to sign off, Sarah?
Subscribe to the channel!
Folks? So, that's gonna do her for this one. We had a lot of interruptions and I didn't get too awful far on getting this put together, but my publicist told me that I should not be giving out too much information, the secrets on building these silage boxes. So I don't know, I'm gonna have to have a little review with them to see if I need to tone things down a little bit here. So I might be showing too many secrets to building these silage boxes here. We've got our own design, and it has been, how does that saying go? Often imitated, but never completely duplicated. Yeah, and that is the God's honest truth. There has been guys that have used the design that we use to build them, and although they have done a good job, they haven't completely duplicated it, have they? So maybe we will be revealing all of our secrets on this one, and they'll be able to get their next one right. But we're gonna hide a few things here. So that's gonna do it, folks. I want to thank you for watching, and we're just gonna keep on keeping on.